Today we have a 2012 Porsche 911 Carrera GTS. Now, when I first started making car reviews, this was the third or fourth car I actually did a review on. And I want to redo this review for two reasons. My camera quality and reviews, etc., my video production has gotten a lot better since then, and I just like driving Porsches. So the 2012 GTS is a 997 generation Porsche. It's a 997.2 to be exact. The difference between the GTS and all other models is the GTS was created to be the gap between the Carrera S and the GT3. The GT3 is harsher and more bare bones, and the Carrera S is really soft. It's still a fun sports car, but it's a massive gap between Carrera S to GT3. So what the GTS has done differently is it has 408 horsepower compared to the standard Carrera S's 385. Now the 408 horsepower of the engine, I think, is the same as the X51 power package you could get for your Carrera S, your 997.2 Carrera S to be exact. I haven't really found any information vindicating that, but I mean the numbers are exactly the same, so I mean it just makes sense. The GTS is loaded with all the bells and whistles. It has a stiffer suspension, like I said, a good middle ground in between Carrera S soft and GT3 harsh. It's right in the middle. Now when I say Carrera S soft, I still don't mean the Carrera S is like a body rolled monster. It's just a little more cozy compared to this. This does have that electronic dampening, so I can change it, but I have it in Sport Plus right now, and I kind of enjoy the harsh ride. Another thing included with the GTS is this is actually based on a Carrera 4 body. So the four-wheel drive Carrera is actually wider. This is still a two-wheel drive model, a rear-wheel drive, but using the four-wheel drive body, so it's wider. So the 408 horsepower Boxer 6 is, as you'd imagine, is a lot of high-performance, normally aspirated engines. There's not much low end going on, but you ring it out to the top end and it rips. So up until 4,000 RPM, the car starts to really take off. Cruising around in lower gear, you can feel the car has like some low end torque to it, but it isn't an LS motor. It isn't going to carry you away from fifth gear. If you really want to take off, you got to bring it down a gear and bring the RPMs up. Power shot through a Porsche PDK 7-speed. This is the dual clutch automatic, semi-auto, whatever you want to call it, and arguably one of the best semi-auto transmissions you can get your hands on. Oh, it feels like firing off every shift of the paddle. Feels like you're firing off a gun. Just every time, bam, bam, bam. It's satisfying for an automatic. This is a good. I could live with this automatic, because you feel so connected to it, like the nerve endings on your fingertips are hooked up to the paddles, telling the transmission what to do. So this being a two-wheel drive model and rear engine, how does it handle? So Porsche steering, it's the best on the market in my opinion. I love the way the steering wheel feels. I love the way the road communicates with you, the car communicates with you. It's fast, it's precise. It is a precision tool to be used by a surgeon. I say a surgeon because a surgeon could probably afford this new also. One dynamic that this Porsche has compared to other cars is its rear engine. So with the rear engine, a lot of people disregard it, but it has a dynamic to it that no other car has. So if we look at this car, we're looking at the car from the side, and where my wrist is would be where the engine is. The car has a pendulum effect to it when you're transferring weight with the gas and brake. So a lot of times people lose control of these cars because they start to slide and their reaction is off the gas. Most cars are like that, but to come out of a slide with a Porsche, you want to roll into throttle, because what you're doing is you're putting that weight transfer to the rear, then putting force to the ground in the tires, actually building more traction in turn, instead of other cars where if you put throttle to the rear while you're sliding, you're just going to burn the tires up. So that's a dynamic this car has. That's why it has that motto of slow in, extremely fast out of corners. Because you're slowing it up and you're setting up your corner exit with this car, so that way you can use all that traction you have. A lot of racers that have raced like all-wheel drive cars will say the Porsches take out of corners like an all-wheel drive vehicle. But it's still a rear-wheel drive car. It still doesn't have that extra weight or force on the front wheels. So it has that balance. It's able to get away with the advantages of a front-wheel drive car and take some of the advantages an all-wheel drive car would pose. In my opinion, it makes probably one of the best combinations for racing and having a sports car. And as someone who likes drifting but also likes road racing and stuff like that, being able to be told to get on the gas when you start sliding to still go fast, that sounds awesome to me. I mean, even there when I was playing around on the highway and I made that U-turn, first gear, floored it, nothing, no wheel spin, just took off. Snapped my neck back, whatever. It feels like an all-wheel drive launched. It's funny, the brakes are really good in this car, and if you continuously improve brake performance, you also start to get more noise out of them. Porsche doesn't want to sacrifice performance, so instead on their YouTube channel they have a video explaining what the brake noise is. Basically, it's a shut up, our brakes are good. If you want bad brakes, go buy something else. But if you want good brakes in a performance car, you're buying a performance car, you're gonna have to deal with some squeaky brakes sometimes. That's why I love Porsche. They're not gonna be like, oh, let's put like a ceramic pad in there, something quieter. Like, no, dude. No, we have performance brakes. We're not sacrificing that. And that mentality is shared throughout the whole car. And after driving this car my first time, I'm completely turned. I am a Porsche fanatic. I love these cars. These are, in my opinion, the perfect sports car. Everyone else has their own perfect sports car, but to me, I think this is perfection right here. You can tell while driving this car that this car was designed to be driven. And I think that's what I like about the Porsche community out of all of them. You know, driving around, people look at me like I'm a rich snob, but really I'm a broke college student that managed to get the keys to this car. But I don't care, because while they're being pissy in the parking lot of a Dutch Brothers, I'm out here enjoying this car now, having fun, ready to gap-tize this Tesla. Bye-bye! This car is amazing. I love this car. This could be arguably the perfect Porsche for everything. I say that because we're going back to the Carrera S is more street oriented and the GT3 is more track oriented. But this car shares DNA from both. And with that, it can almost make the perfect car in general for someone who needs to get to work Monday through Friday, go to the track Saturday, Sunday, and preferably their workplace or home is up a twisty road, so they can enjoy that through the weekdays also. This car does not reward lift-off oversteer, I'll tell you that right now. No, never lift with a Porsche, because of that dynamic I was talking about earlier. If we lift, then all of that weight in the rear, all that inertia comes forward, we lose traction over the rear, and it creates a pivot point on the front axle to make the car want to spin around. Now, if you are comfortable with the car, you know that you can now roll back onto the throttle and balance that pivot point. If we had a cup of water in here like Initial D, we could use that water as an example of how to balance the inertia in the car to drive it faster. One great thing about the PDK from a driving dynamic is now you can left foot brake. And here's the good thing about this. Most people, a lot of instructors will tell you no trail braking, right? Even in a 350Z, for example, a front engine rear wheel drive car, no trail braking. And that's because as an instructor, they're going to tell you that because, you know, it's dangerous, you could potentially slide, they don't want you to hurt yourself. But as you escalate your driving ability, you'll learn trail braking's faster for two reasons. It helps on corner rotation, and it also helps bleed your braking line deeper. So now you can brake deeper into a corner by, you know, taking, let's say we take another 10 feet off our braking zone, and we bleed that 10 feet of braking into corner entry. and we balance. We don't go 100% on the brakes, but we roll off the brake as we turn in. So there's like a motion with turning in and coming off the brake pedal, and that helps with rotation in the corner. So with a Porsche, they definitely tell you do not trail brake, because like I mentioned earlier, all that weight's in the rear. We now shifted all of our weight forward. You're really asking for trouble. But here's where the PDK comes in, and this is something more of an experienced driver would use to their advantage. Let's say we take the line of trail braking deep into the corner really hard. With a PDK, we can left foot brake. We left foot brake, go down our gears. Your right foot's ready on the throttle. So as soon as you come off the brake and the car wants to rotate, you can balance it out with some maintenance throttle. Maintenance throttle is basically slight throttle just to keep some weight over the rear end. Not enough for accelerating out of the corner. It's really just a balancing tactic mid-corner. So with this PDK, you can do that. You can do this with a Porsche has that dynamic, so you can really get away with it. But in a manual car, you're shifting your feet over. When you have to heel toe, you have to use your right foot for the brake. So that time in between shifting from your heel toe over to maintenance throttle, you could potentially lose it there. But with the PDK, it's a more reliable system because you're braking one foot and then you're instantly on it to maintenance throttle. And this is something that takes practice. This isn't something you're going to do out of the gate, but it's a massive advantage these cars do pose to anything else on the track. Oh man, it's wet. It's wet. It's wet, but you slide it out and you just hold onto the throttle and the car just hooks. It hooks and goes. Oh my God, I love this car. These cars are amazing. There's something about sliding them that's fun also. You just feel like you're surfing, you're riding on it, you're hanging on and there's riding the slide out. Rather than maintaining a slide and keeping it going sideways, you literally feel like you're riding it out like a wave. I could talk about this car all day. This might be a really long review because there's so much I've built in my head about this car, and this car is so highly praised to me. I could talk all day. I want to say the funnest way to drive this car is you're gonna have 5 of these lights on. You're gonna have Sport Plus, dampers on, exhaust open, the wing up because the wing looks cool. I mean, downforce, yeah, but it looks cool. And then traction control off. That's the way to drive this car. We die like men. Then the way you gotta drive this car is you gotta put it in manual mode and shift everywhere. That's how you're gonna have fun daily driving this car. And I'm enjoying this. Oh, this car is amazing. I also want to mention there's a lot of luxury amenities in this car. And as someone driving this car for 20-30 minutes, you don't notice these things. But imagine having this as your daily driver. You have cooled seats, heated seats, a Sirius XM, all this other cool luxury stuff. I just want to really mention that you can turn the heated seats on along with the cool seats. So when you're feeling really bipolar, you can just put both of them on. That feels weird. I'm going to turn that off. The cooled seats work really good. So leather, not a big issue. Also, these seats hold you in very well. You look at them, the bolstering isn't too aggressive, but they hold you in. And then on top of that, they're comfortable. Your Porsche, perfect. I think it's perfect. Perfect. The back seats don't hold anything. I think part of the reason they have back seats still is possibly to stay true to his heritage. Because back in the 60s, you could fit a family in this car. You'd fit children in the back, but they'd still fit. I don't think you could fit anyone in there right now. Legless children, as Jeremy Clarkson once said. But I think another reason that they might keep the back seats in there is you're a prospective buyer, brand new, right? You're an educated person who can afford this car brand new. And you're looking at this, or you're looking at a Ferrari, or insert equivalent sports car that's mid-engine. And then you're like, well, you know, I didn't make all this money because I wasted. I still save money. That's how I'm able to afford this car. So how much is insurance? And insurance companies work on paper. So the Ferrari has 2 seats. The Porsche has 4 seats. That can't be as reckless. Okay, insurance is cheaper for the Porsche. And that might be one reason why Porsche keeps the back seats, is because they know their prospective buyers are looking at things like this. And then we get to the point of the GT3 where they don't have the back seats anymore. But at that financial standpoint, I don't think the owner looking for that car is going to care about the back seats or the extra insurance cost. There's one thing that annoys me, these mirrors. If you're cruising with the window down, they have a hole in them and they whistle. It drives me nuts. You put your hand there. When you're just like ripping through gears, you don't notice it, but when you're cruising with the windows down, you just hear this whistle. It drives me crazy. I love this car. I might be missing stuff. I just praise this car. And I think it's one of the best cars in the world, honestly. I know I didn't have a good chance to push it really hard, but oh man, if someone wants to let me drive one on track, I would love that. Just leave a comment down below. And yeah, let's set this up. I'll drive a Porsche on track. I can really give a better review. So we're here at the end of the video, and I have to give this car up. I don't want to, but one day what Porsche does great, and especially for me, and I think for a lot of younger people like me, is it gives us motivation. It gives us something to strive for. It gives us a reason to push and continue and have a desire to be successful other than the reason of being successful alone. So I will have my Porsche one day. One day I'll have one to call my own that I can drive every day, drive it everywhere. It'll happen. But now what needs to happen is I need to work for it. And that's the one beautiful thing about Porsche. I think they recognize that with their owners, that they worked for this. This isn't a status symbol. This is a symbol of hard work and success. And I will have my own one day. Albeit through my degree, through YouTube videos, whatever. I'll have my own Porsche one day. Thanks for watching.